Welcome to the Oil Stream post-game show on Edmonton Sports Talk. The Edmonton Oilers fall 3-2 in a shootout after losing the game in overtime, only to have the goal reviewed and disallowed due to offside. And ultimately, the Oilers do pick up a loser point, and we're talking about a 1-1-1 road trip so far. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you to mop things up this afternoon. Hope you're doing well on a lovely afternoon in Edmonton as spring is just around the corner. You know what? Don't let the Oilers' loss dampen your spirits, although they did not play particularly great. Again, sloppy game, mistakes, despite it starting well. Ultimately, it is a 3-2 shootout loss. Of course, you can text us 780-218-9999. And you can get at us if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel at The Nasty Chat. If you're listening on iHeartRadio or TuneIn or our audio stream, we appreciate it. 780-218-9999. Let's go into the scoring summary and the game stats from this one today in Buffalo. Started out phenomenal for the Oilers. Just 29 seconds in, that line reunited. Draisaitl with McLeod and Fogle. It clicks at the 29-second mark. McLeod, his 11th of the year, on a nice backhand no-look pass from Leon Draisaitl. Warren Fogle also getting in on the action. 1-0 Edmonton early. Then at 14:19, shorthanded. 7th shorty of the year for the Oilers. It's McLeod and Fogle. The speed, the touch. Little give, a little go. And it's a 2-0 Oilers lead. Things looking good, but just over a minute later, Tage Thompson scramble in front. He bangs home his 19th of the year on the power play to cut the Oilers lead in half. The puck was bobbling all over the place. It seemed like the puck was bobbling a lot today in Buffalo at KeyBank Center, and I don't know why. It's not like that building is overly used. I don't know if there was a concert last night. I doubt it. It's mostly and predominantly a hockey rink, so for whatever reason, the puck was bobbling all over the place. I think Nugent Hopkins tried to bat the puck out of the air when Thompson got it, and he was ping-ponging around, and he smacks it home. So 2-1 after one, no scoring in the second period. In the third, Jacob Bryson, his first goal in forever, unassisted on a backhander. I did not like this goal one bit. Skinner did not play it well. It was a soft, harmless backhand. At 11:39, the equalizer. Edmonton could not get the insurance marker or reset it to a 2-goal lead, and it cost them because Bryson tied it up. Nobody could score in overtime. I shouldn't say that. Owen Power scored in overtime on a terribly defended play with 2 seconds left. I have no clue what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Darnell Nurse, and Zach Hyman were doing. They just backed off of Power, and he walked right in and buried it past Stu Skinner. Great shot, but when you're allowed to walk in 40 feet from the blue line, probably got a good chance you're going to score it, and he did. But we came into the studio. We were setting up. I kept refreshing to get the final game stats. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I look up at the TV in our main area, and I see that they're reviewing it, and then all of a sudden the players are going back on the ice, and I look at Trev, I'm like, game's not over, man. Something happened. You see Uncle Gene in the Sabres hallway looking and laughing, and I'm like, something happened, and you see the review, and sure enough, we're going back to OT, 20 seconds of OT. The Oilers almost pissed it away in overtime in that final 20 seconds as well. It was a spotty coverage. There was a last-second chance for the Sabres. Luckily, Skinner saved it. Go to the shootout, and in the shootout, it was a goal from Thompson. McDavid stopped. Power stopped. Draisaitl scores. Tuck buries, and Nugent-Hopkins could not convert. And ultimately, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen on his 25th birthday helps lead the Sabres to a 3-2 shootout win. Shots on goal tonight, or today I should say, 32-26 in favor of Edmonton. The Oilers dummied the Sabres on the faceoff dot, 79.6% to 20.4. Edmonton on the power play 0 for 3. Again, trying to be too cute. Connor McDavid refuses to shoot for whatever reason. Maybe he's toying with teams. I don't know, but he won't shoot. The PK goes 0 for 1 with the shorty. So there's that. Hits 40-14 in favor of Buffalo. All right. Block shots 11-7 in favor of the Oilers. Giveaways 4 for Edmonton, 2 for Buffalo. Takeaways 11 for Buffalo, 5 for the Oilers. And I'll just say this, they started out really good. It seemed like they were rolling 3 lines. They'd sprinkle in the 4th line a little bit here and there. It started out good. And then as the game progressed, the game deteriorated for the Oilers, and they were sloppier, and the passes weren't as sharp, and the decision-making wasn't as good, and they started to look like the Oilers that we saw on Thursday in Columbus, and you're going, what the heck's going on with this group? And Buffalo looked more dangerous, I thought, at times in the third period. Buffalo hit, 4 or 5 posts, and then Stuart Skinner did have to make a few good saves. Again, I did not like that Bryson goal one bit. I thought it was incredibly weak. And ultimately, it's a 3-2 shootout loss. Should have been 2 points. They blew it, simply put. Now they have to go to Pittsburgh and try to rally and make it a 2-1-1 road trip. All right, send us your thoughts, 780-218-9999. And then, of course, if you're watching via the Nasty Chat, let's go to YouTube Trev here and get Trev's thoughts, because you were getting ready. You're like, oh, my goodness, what was that? And then I was like, Trev, the game's not over. Look what's going on. And a little glimmer of hope in your eyes to spark your Saturday afternoon. And it was all for naught, my friend.
All for naught. Yeah, that sucked twice. That sucked twice. So
really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that. You see it every now and then. It happens to the odd team, and it's weird. I finally watched it live, but yeah, it was weird. All of a sudden, I'm just getting ready and getting the scores ready, and next thing you know, they're in the shootout, and they lost. They lost twice today, essentially, is what that was. So tough, man. It's tough. They started strong, but like you said, as the game rolled on, old tendencies, they kind of just came back, and they put the pedal there. They put their foot off the pedal, and they just
take it off the pedal.
They just sat back. So definitely not happy with their performance. Right out of the gate, Draisaitl, Fogle, McLeod, which we have seen at times before. We talked about it in the pregame. That line has showed chemistry. They couldn't do that for a little bit, right? Because the problem with that line is you got 2 centers on it, and one of the centers is Ryan McLeod, who was slotted in the third line. So there was that problem that they had with that before. But, now they have Adam Henrique, so they have the option to do that, bring McLeod and Fogle up on Leon Draisaitl's line, and right out of the gate, it was, as expected. We were talking about it. Belzy is one of his game changers. We talked about chemistry, game changers. We talked about chemistry. So, and it looked like they had significant chemistry at times, especially right out of the gate. So it was encouraging to see, and it was. From all the first 5 minutes, it was like, okay, this should be. I'm liking what I'm seeing, Tommy. But they sat back, and then Buffalo really just brought it to them. So
tenacious,
very tenacious. And we talked about the players. Like the Sabres do have players that can really just turn on a dime. They can switch. Dylan Cousins, he's having a tough year, and it's crazy. You look at the year that he's having, and they were talking about it on the broadcast. His numbers aren't nearly as good. Pretty well half the Sabres team, their numbers are dialed back quite a bit from the year prior. But you wonder why. If the Sabres showed up like this all season long, they'd be a wagon of a team, and they have the players like Cousins. There was several breaks. I think he did 3 toe drags in the slot this game. So it's super impressive. They brought it to the Oilers, and the Oilers just let them bring it to them. So not too pleased with the performance. It's this one sucks. OT losses, the ones that go to regulation, are always the most difficult. They did get the loser point. That's one upside you can look at, Tommy, but
they don't get 2 loser points for losing in OT and the shootout. Oh, terrible dad. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, that's good. But you had mentioned it already. For whatever reason, the puck was just bobbling. It was
bouncing
again.
McDavid was fighting it today.
Yeah, he was really fighting it. They were having a hard time receiving passes, and we saw it in the Columbus game as well. They were dishing out passes. They were kind of struggling with as well. But it was weird that puck was bobbling a lot. So That was kind of frustrating. I didn't mind, like, as far as defense goes, Stuart Skinner, he should have had the tying goal. Like, that was that was really bad. And
really bad goal.
We were talking about it. Maybe he didn't see it. I don't know how he didn't see it. But
Gager, and I was like, is that flyby screen?
Yeah, it'd be interesting because you see
him. He said no, and I agree. You watch it again, you're like, he just played it terribly. Like, he caught him.
It was weird though. Like, his reaction was like last second he made. So that's why we were thinking that. But Skinner's going to want to have that one back. It'll be interesting to see who they grab for the post game interviews because they're like this is a game they were winning.
Yeah.
Coming down the line, coming to playoffs, you want to win these games, especially when you look at how they did in the playoffs last year. They had the lead in all the games. So you got to start learning to play with the lead and just play full 60. And we've been talking about it at length as of late, just playing that full 60, and we haven't been seeing it at all. So it was a good start, and that's one thing they have been struggling with lately is their starts, I think. And
yes, they have been struggling with it.
And so that was their best start, But and then it was kind of opposite as what we've seen. Their finish was the one that wasn't that great at all. So. Back to the drawing board. Tommy, is it time to worry? No, I'm not worried at all. It sucks, yeah, for sure. But I mean, in theory, they should have won this game. They didn't. Whatever. Move on.
If I suggested, and I'm just going to throw this out there, let me know what you think. 780-218-9999 or via the nasty chat. I'm just going to throw this idea out there. It's a thought. It's not what I believe, but it's a thought. If I were to suggest that in these last two games, after the deadline acquisitions, they're almost like too comfortable, too confident. Well, I don't need to go and give 100% on this shift. I know the next line coming out is going to do it. And then everybody's kind of looking at each other to go and do something these last couple games. It almost feels like.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing that out there. Do you buy that? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think. Like, almost like an overconfidence, because now you bring in another guy in Henrique, and you bring in a depth guy, and you have another. So it's like, well, your GM went and got you guys, and now you have three lines that look pretty good on paper, but you don't win the game on paper. It's nice that you have like really good players on the team, but they have to go out there and play. The other guys are trying to. So that's a thought I'm throwing out there. Did they look too complacent these last couple of games? You tell me. If I'm wrong, that's fine. I don't necessarily believe that, but it's kind of creeping into the back of my mind that it sort of looks like that, especially, I'd say, the second half of that game and then pretty much all of the Columbus game. It's like, well, you got Perry, Kane, and Henrique going out there next shift. That's pretty good. All right, after them, it's Draisaitl with Fogle and McLeod. Look at that. They've got 2 goals for the team already. I feel pretty good about that. Oh, okay, well, when those 2 lines are done, guess what? You're throwing out McDavid with Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins. That's a great line. So no urgency. No zip. Except for that first period. If I'm crazy, by all means tell me. I get it. It's a thought. Throwing it out there, bat it around, send it back. 780-218-9999. Let's go to the inbox. I see the nasty chat. Actually, there was some nasties that I saw there that I wanted to get to. Zedmo says, back to playing like it's a practice. They'll get a do-over. Smitty Welder says, what a stinker by Skinner tonight. Bouchard was awful. McDavid, invisible. Yeah, McDavid fighting the puck, Smitty. Bouchard, a couple of moments where you're just like, what are you doing? And I did not like that second goal that Skinner allowed at all. Got lucky with the post. Made some good saves, but that second goal was just bleh. What else do we have here? Daily Star Wars says, McDavid looks like he is frustrated. I don't agree with that second part of your statement. I think Daily Star Wars is a troll from another fan base, to be honest with you. Oh, you got to love it. All right, let's go to the inbox here. Nasty chat. Be nice to him, but do your thing. 780-218-9999. Lots of texts coming in on this Saturday afternoon. Let's get to the post-game stuff. This game gave me indigestion. Brutal. Matt from Okotoks says, soft, weak, emotionless, same mistakes in their own zone as last year, let alone the beginning of the year. There were at least 3 terrible plays before the tying goal, before everyone is hard on Skinner. Some teams look great on paper, have success in the regular season, but just aren't built for the playoffs. This team is that 0-1-1 after playing Columbus and Buffalo. Pathetic. I think Rob Tychkowski summed it up best in his tweet. Titch doesn't tweet much anymore, but when he does, it's usually a doozy. He said, no shame in losing to Columbus and Buffalo. Obviously, 100% sarcasm on that one. And there was the 3 terrible plays that Matt from Okotoks brings up, especially on the second goal. McDavid was one of them where he bobbled the puck, and it was kept in the Oilers zone. And then Bryson goes in, a little backhander goes. I did not like that goal at all. And good to point out, Matt from Okotoks, that there was a sequence of events that led to that softie too. They should have cleared it. They did not, and that's a problem. No urgency. So Mike from Thunder Bay chimes in, says, this might be the first time I actually enjoyed any goal called off for offside. Excellent entertainment. Mike in Thunder Bay. Surprised you're not more frustrated. Gator Hockey sends in, a Brown should have never pulled that lever in the preseason. Okay, and then a GIF with it. That's good. KL says, boys, another sloppy game that the Oilers should have won. Nurse with 2 turnovers that led directly to the first and OT goal. Skinner wants that second goal back. That goal is a backbreaker at that time of the game. Not much jump today, except for the dry line. Wondering if it's time to possibly change up the stale power play 1 and power play 2 for more balance to get other guys involved. Thoughts? KL, power play 1, just too many passes again. I feel like people were probably yelling, shoot the damn puck. And they keep, McDavid just refuses. I don't know what the reasoning and rationale is there. I feel like in the playoffs, he's going to completely change what he does. He's going to shoot it more, and we're going to see a different look from the power play, but they keep going back to the same patterns, and I think teams have the book on them right now, and it's still I think it was 3rd going into the day in the NHL, so it's still right up there. Hard to mess with something that's clicking. Going into the game today, it was 26.7%. That was 3rd in the NHL. Power play 2 did score the other night, which was good. Corey Perry redirecting that shot, but I don't think they're going to change it up. So I don't disagree with mixing it up. I understand that, injecting it with a bit of a jolt in someone else, right? Sometimes that works, and but these guys are record power play last year and 3rd in the league this year. It's hard to go, wow, we need to mix it up. Frustrating to watch, though. KL, I will say that, when they are capable of so much better. And that's what you get today. Mavs texts in, says, these guys deserve their fate again today. A slightly better effort than Columbus, but couldn't execute anything cleanly today. No finish at all. Guilty of gliding into loose pucks too many times and losing puck battles. Letting Buffalo keep possession in the zone way too much. Tried to be too cute on many occasions in the O-zone. Leaked away too many grade A chances. Super lucky that Buffalo couldn't cash in. If it was any other team, they'd be down 2 to 3 goals after the second, hoping they turn it up tomorrow against Pitt. Mavs, that's a good text. Summed it up nicely. This one from Calgary says, TG, they said there was an NLL game that went into OT there last night. Okay, good point. I forgot about the, is it the Buffalo Bandits? I forgot about that, and maybe that did have an effect on it. I don't know how old. The ice plant, that arena is creeping up on 30 years old. I think it opened in 96. I don't know if they've updated the ice plant. I'm sure they have. It's a good hockey market. They've got owners with deep pockets. But, that puck was bouncing. Thank you for pointing out that there was an NLL game. I did not know that. And then this texter also adds that Byram trade is going to look bad for Colorado. And also says, I think you're right with that thought. Lazy AF play. Thank you. This text says, hey guys, it's Matt from Spruce. I only got to listen to the half of the third in this one, but 2 things that concern me with the Oilers are that they still seem to lack a killer instinct, which shouldn't be the case at this point, and they need better bounce back. Far too often, 1 loss leads to 3 losses, which won't fly come playoffs. Also, the review system is broken. So ridiculous. All right, Matt from Spruce. I I agree on the lack of killer instinct at times. Just, kind of like, we'll beat them eventually. That seems like that's the general mindset at times with this group. The one losses that lead to 3, let's just take a look at, I'm just going to go over the Oilers game log this season. I think they've cleaned it up when it comes to snapping losing skids. So since the 16-gamer, when they went on that heater, they had a loss in Vegas. They bounced back with a win. A loss in LA the next night, bounced back with a win. A terrible loss in St. Louis. They bounced back with 2 wins. Then they have an OT loss to Boston, 2 regulation losses. So that was the last time they went winless for more than 1 game, when they went 0-2-1. Then they rattled off 5 straight, and then they lose to Columbus, and then they lose in overtime or shootout today. So really, they have done a good job of generally, lately, stopping the bleeding quickly. Before the 16-game winning streak was a 3-game losing streak. Prior to the 3-game losing streak was an 8-game winning streak. Before that was a 3-game losing streak. But before that 3-game losing streak was a 3-game winning streak. And before that 3-game winning streak was a 2-9-1 record, which was putrid to start the season. So for the most part, they do a good job of stopping the bleeding. They let it leak through again today a bit, though. To Matt from Okotoks' point.
Yeah, they have been better as of late. Like, I agree on that, Tommy.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like, when you're playing a hungry team, and this is one thing that you're getting every team's best. When McDavid and Draisaitl, they come into town, like, the opposing teams, they're going to bring it, right? They're going to give you 110% of their effort, and so it's tough. You have to match that effort, right?
They did not.
And they did not. Simply. So, no, it's interesting. But, Tommy, I just was reading a comment in the nasty chat I kind of want to get to.
All right, sure.
From Ahmed, why was McDavid given the chance in the shootout? He was struggling the whole game.
I understand that sentiment. He has 100 points.
He has 100 points. And
he's the best player in the world.
And you don't play McDavid in the shootout, you're getting twice as many comments saying, why was McDavid not in the shootout?
But I agree with Ahmed. He was fighting the puck a lot tonight.
He was fighting it, but I mean, the best players, like,
it's McDavid.
It's McDavid. You're not going to not, like, even a bad day for him is a better day than most. Yeah. So I just wanted to.
You even said it too when Draisaitl was going out there for a shot. You're like, I don't know how I feel about this. And I'm like, this is a 100-point guy.
Yeah,
what are we complaining about here?
Yeah, it's true.
But I understand. We get into the nitty-gritty, the minutia of this team. You watch them every day. You go to practice. You see what they're doing. You get a sense and a feel and an instinct. And Draisaitl buried that one, posting in, low blocker like he tends to do. And then Nugent Hopkins can score after Tuck's goal. Tuck, wonderful hockey player. If he can only stay healthy, that's a guy I'd like to get on my team if I was a GM. But like someone said after the show or after the game on last post-game show, it's a good thing you're not a GM, Tom. I agree wholeheartedly.
What are you talking about? You'd be a great GM, Tom.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I as well would like an Alex Tuck-like player on my team.
Appreciate that. There's a $50 Hudson's GC going into your backpack for that one.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
780-218-9999. Couple more texts. I saw, is Draisaitl, they already put the clips up?
Yeah, okay. Just working on getting Leon right
All
now.
right, we're going to get that in a minute or two here, and we're going to get to more of your texts. The Oilers fall 3-2 in the shootout after losing the game in overtime. It goes to a review. They're on the ice. I think the Zambonis were getting ready to go out there. The mascot was around. I'm like, and sure enough, they review it, and it was offside. They play the last 20 seconds. The Oilers almost get scored on in the last 20 seconds of OT, and then they lose in the shootout. So a weird one. They did not deserve the second point, and their game in the latter half of today's matchup looked too much like what we saw from the Columbus game, which is not good. This was a bad game. They played terrible in Columbus. So that is something that needs to be corrected. Tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock start our time. We're on the air at 9:30 for the pregame show. Play like that against Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh's just getting smoked left, right, and center right now, and the Oilers mopped them up last Sunday. You got to play better. Just go play better. Get that second win on this trip. Conroe, Texas, texting in. Conroe, Texas, thinks Connor McDavid is hurt again. If not, I don't understand what he's doing. He was brutal today, and I agree complacency is setting in. They've won some games with a similar effort. The hardest working team generally wins. We haven't seen that from this team in a little while. I liked what they did against Boston. It was a complete win against Pittsburgh. A 5-game winning streak was good, but the way they lose games when they lose is very frustrating. So, again, when people point out those things, I'm like, yep, I get it, because generally when they lose games, it's the same things that sink them. And it's like, don't you learn from the last time you guys did this? The answer generally is no. So we'll see if they can pick it up tomorrow. Conroe, Texas, good to hear from you. Appreciate the text. EA, hello, EA. Texting in saying, drama notwithstanding, you guys excused the loss to a bottom feeder last game. I don't want to hear any excuses this time. 0-2 post-trade. 0-1-1, EA. A 2-0 lead with a great start and coughing it up. Buffalo could have easily won this game 5-2 with the amount of posts they hit. No one took over the game, and they essentially waited for Buffalo to have their way. It's completely and utterly unacceptable. EA, we did give them that one. We said it was a stinker. You park it, you move on, and bounce back strong. They did that for 20 minutes today. The rest of the game looked a lot like Columbus. No excuses. We will not let them off the hook there. Played like crap for 2 periods, and it cost them a point today. 0-1-1, EA. Thank you for the text. Haas is in. Haas simply says, I don't think the Oilers know how to play a full 60 minutes. A pro shouldn't think like that. If that's going on, those guys need to be gone in terms of the laissez-faire approach. Not playing McDavid would be as foolish as not having Gretzky take a shootout in the Olympics. That's from Haas, who vividly remembers the 98 Nagano Olympics when Brendan Shanahan took the last shot on Dominik Hasek and was stopped.
Did he score? No?
And Gretzky was left sitting on the bench.
Okay. I thought I heard about that. I didn't know if he scored, though.
Oh, it was.
So that even, that's
lingering
worse
image of Wayne on the bench after the whole team was off the ice, just sitting there, dejected. No, it was like head down, like.
It's like, put me in, coach.
He was ready to play.
What do I got to do? Put me in, coach.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, why didn't the Oilers grab Kostin? I don't know. Well, they traded for Kostin. There was a trade to San Jose for Kostin. I was thinking for a second they got put on waivers, but that was not the case. They've moved on. That's all I'd say. They've moved on.
They didn't because San Jose did.
San Jose did. Edmonton has moved on from him. I think that's probably the answer. I don't know if that even came up. It's interesting lately. People in oil country liking the idea of going back and getting former players on the team. We heard people saying, go get Patty Maroon. I like Patty Maroon. Go get Jordan Eberle. Why didn't they get Eberle? What about Klim Kostin? Go get Bukestad. Bukestad would be perfect, by the way. Yeah.
It is interesting. I know
that's one. They had that extra $1 million of cap space.
Bukestad?
If they didn't buy out Neal and they bought out Koskinen.
Yeah. Then it would have been birds are chirping.
Maybe.
Welcome to your new home, Bukestad.
Maybe. You could stay at Mark Pesic's place in Sherwood Park all season long. Peter texting in said, this one is frustrating. So many question marks throughout this team. Defense should have been the priority at the deadline. Nurse is borderline unplayable at times. Yeah, Nurse did not have a good afternoon. For show. All right. Thanks for the text, Peter. YouTube Trev, where are we going here, pal?
I thought he looked a lot better today, especially in the first. Well, maybe you could argue only in the first. Let's hear from number 29, Leon Draisaitl.
First shift, 2-0 lead, and it kind of had a hard time building on it. What do you think happened?
I don't know if I agree with that. I thought we played a solid game. Maybe gave up a couple too many chances or looks, but we just couldn't find that third one to get some insurance. That's really the game. thought we clearly outplayed them for the majority of the game. And, their goalie was good, made some big stops. So, you just couldn't find that third one.
Do you look to your power play to maybe provide that third goal for you?
Yeah, for sure. We can be a lot better.
Usually shorthanded goals are big boosts for a team, and then they score right after. Do you think that maybe changed the game a little bit, the course of the game a little bit?
I don't know if it changed the game. I mean, yeah, like to obviously not get scored on, but it's just, they got some skilled players, and maybe we gave up, like I said, a couple too many looks, couple too many chances that we'd like to clean up.
What did you make at the end of the game? Like, that was really bizarre. Eh?
Yeah, it was bizarre. We had lots of guys that were pretty close to being in the shower, so yeah, it's different for sure.
How'd you get the word? Like, what? How did it work?
Hairball just came in and yelled that might be offside. So obviously scramble, get your gear back on, and get back out there.
What did you make of playing with McLeod and Fogle again? You guys had great success there for about a month, and it seemed like it early on in the game as well.
Yeah. Thought we connected a lot. Had a lot of good looks, and it was good. It was fun.
All right, there's Leon Draisaitl today I should say. Draisaitl with an assist plus one shot, 22:04 time on ice, a dominating 85% on the dot. I'm going to disagree with him disagreeing with Speck about how they played. He said he thought they played a pretty good game overall. I don't buy that for 1 second.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe what was the shot clock? Do you have those stats? The shots?
Shots were 32-27 in favor of the Oilers.
32. Okay, so yeah, they even, because I know maybe midway through the third period they were almost doubling them in shots, but maybe that's the only thing he's looking at, because you're getting the puck on net, but how many of those chances are grade A scoring chances?
Forget the last 15 minutes of the third?
Yeah, exactly. So I agree with you. One thing worth being noted, I think it is nice to see he doesn't seem to, he's not mad. That's not pissy Leon, right? Yeah. At the beginning of the season when they lost to Vancouver, he was, in all those losses, really, he was down in the dumps. And that they got a loss today. He's like, it's not good. I don't mind that. Personally, you can't dwell on these things.
Yeah.
And I said, come in playoffs, you especially can't dwell on them. It's on to the next. And so I do like that.
Go prove it with your play tomorrow afternoon in Pittsburgh. Simple as that. Hairball, as Leon referred to, Brad Harrison, a.k.a. Harry, follically challenged, a great man, and not surprised that he was the one that had to run in the room. Hey, might be offside. Harry's got all of those guys' attention, very highly respected. Him and Jeff Lang, Shane Olmstead as well, doing great work, and Harry's a guy you don't get mad at, but when he called him Hairball, I was just like, that's a great name for Harry, who is anything but that.
That's awesome. I was wondering. I'm sure a lot of nasties were wondering too, so thanks for clearing that up, Tommy.
Great guy. Okay, do we have more?
Yes, we do.
Right,
he scored today on Leon's line. Let's go to Warren Fogle.
Your line specifically, but by your club, how disappointing is it to not come out with 2 full points there?
Yeah, frustrating for sure. I thought we had a good first, right? We did create a lot of chances. I thought Stu played a hell of a game too. He made a lot of big stops tonight. Frustrating when you have that lead and you don't come with the win. But good thing is we got a game tomorrow. Quick flight here to regroup and then focus on tomorrow.
How bizarre was that finish? How did it go down in the dressing room?
Yeah, it's not fun losing, right? So guys weren't happy at first, and then there you have a second chance, right? So at the end of the day, it's not fun losing. So we just regroup here, and good thing is, like I said, we got tomorrow to make up for it.
Does it feel like you lost twice?
Well, we did lose twice. We lost last game and this game. So
No, like tonight. You came in here, you thought you lost, then you got another chance, and it didn't go your way, but it's just a bizarre way to win.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone's just happy because we lost, right? So, would have liked the 2 points there, and we just move forward from here.
Like you talked about the good start, then you get the shorthanded goal, which usually is a big boost. What do you think changed after that? I mean, obviously they scored on the right away on their power play, but do you think the game kind of changed at that point?
Yeah, for sure. I think we didn't get an exit there on the PK, and that happens, and I was able to give them some life, and I just felt kind of in the third maybe we weren't as aggressive. We were a little bit too much on our heels, playing too safe. So we know that we should still play on our toes, but play responsible. So. It's just one of those games. I don't know. Frustrating would be the word, but we have tomorrow to regroup.
This team usually is able to find the third goal. Like you guys, to put a game away. For some reason tonight it didn't come. What do you look at?
Yeah, I know. I thought we actually had a lot of good looks. Our power play had some looks too, and usually they do. Always contribute. So it's one of those one-offs, I guess, right? So. You got to credit the other goalie. He played well too, and just one of those nights.
You personally took a bunch of blame, but you were accountable after the last game, and then you came out this game, had a pretty good game. That's got to be what you were intending to do, I would think.
Yeah, obviously would have been better to get the win, but for myself, wasn't happy with last game, and try to put my foot forward. Obviously, personally, it's a little bit less stressful today than it was for the past week, so so we just had to head for tomorrow.
What did you make of playing with Leon and Ryan again? You guys had a lot of success there for about a month, and hadn't really been together for quite a while since. What did you make of that?
I think any chance you get to play with the second or third best player in the world, it's a huge opportunity, and grateful, I guess, but I feel like he just doesn't get enough respect from you guys, honestly, and around the league, how good he is. And I know we have one superstar, but we've got a really good one too. So he's a hell of a player. He's a massive leader for this club, and he probably deserves to get more talk about him.
There's Warren Fogle had a better night today, better game today, I should say, compared to Thursday night. Had that bad giveaway on the winner, Voronkov in Columbus, and Leon Draisaitl gets a lot of praise. He's a superstar. I'd say Zach Hyman's kind of making his way to superstar status. So, anyway, Fogle not happy. Rightly so. He bounced back all right today. That's a good sign from an individual standpoint. Ultimately, the way the team finished out that game, not good. Too much like what we saw against Columbus. I'll stick with that. And he gave Skinner credit for making big saves. I looked at that and I was like, yeah, he did. He made some big saves, got some help from the posts, and then the one that got by him was not particularly good in the third period on the Bryson goal. So I think that kind of sums it up. Let's get to some texts here, 780-218-9999, or, of course, via the nasty chat. The Oilers fall 3-2 in a shootout. They did get a goal scored on them in overtime, and if you're catching this late, they had to go into the room and say, hey, get your gear back on, because that goal was offside after review. The Oilers almost get scored on in the last 20 seconds of OT that they had to replay, and then they lose ultimately in the shootout. Tom Gazzola and YouTube Trev with you to mop things up on a sloppy Saturday down in Buffalo. Let's go to Shags. Shags texts in and says, I turned the game off after Power won it. Would have loved to hear they actually won after I rage killed the TV. Shags, oddly enough, Sean Bell and I were having a discussion about breaking TVs yesterday on Hello Hockey. We're like, don't do it. It's expensive. Don't do it. You see those guys? Why do people put on social media videos of themselves destroying their televisions when their team loses? Why are people recording themselves watching a game? Almost like they're setting it up and it's not organic and real. Shags, I hope you did not break your TV. Maybe yelled into a pillow. Kicked some air. I don't know. Stress ball. Something. Bike ride. I don't know. McTavish texts in, says, McTavish, whoa. Stacking up a ton of texts. Here we go. I'll start from the top. We'll see where this goes. Tommy, a disappointing performance. Does anyone know how to forecheck with authority? Too passive in a defensive zone. F1 needs to finish a check. Opposition knows they can just spin off the Oilers' forecheck. Kane needs to be with 97 instead of Nuge. He will forecheck with purpose. Nuge should be with Leon and McLeod, or Fogle with the other, and the other with Perry and Henrique. Needs some speed on this line. Brown to Bako. Bring Holloway up. Play the crap out of him. He finishes his checks and has speed and size. This team is losing its chance to win the division or conference. Maybe not important to them, but nobody has clinched a playoff spot. And also, one more from McTavish here. Can the 2021 Nurse come back when he earned the contract? Way too passive. He defends better with his legs and physicality, not waving his stick. Same with other D. Kulak uses his good skating to defend. His play is effective and consistent. Yes, good point about Kulak. He has been very, very, very steady this season. Great skater, smart, generally doesn't make mistakes. And he had another quiet, solid afternoon for the Oilers. And Nurse and Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins, when Power scored on the goal that was eventually disallowed, awful coverage, like just god-awful coverage. Hyman circled back to the guy down low. Nurse was in front of the net because there was another guy there, and I think him and Nugent-Hopkins were both trying to take care of the weak side there. And it let Power walk right in, uninterrupted, undisturbed for like 40 feet, and he just rifles it past Skinner. I thought that was more on Hyman, and then a little bit of Nurse, lack of communication, less so Nugent-Hopkins, because he kind of broke off to his side to cover. I really looked at that. I'm like, that is so unlike Hyman. But, yeah, Nurse was guilty in that as well. Shaggy in St. Albert, not to be confused with Shags, says, this team is a pretender. McDavid, Draisaitl with their country club attitude will get my 2 points with minimal effort. Both show no character, supposed to be leaders. The team adopts their flaws. Shaggy, oof, claws are out, my friend. Jeff says, what an uncertain-looking team that was today. From McDavid all the way down, I counted at least 3 turnovers from McDavid, including one with 5 seconds left in the second chance overtime. In my opinion, this team lately is giving up way too much up high in their end zone. The most frustrating part is this team's biggest weakness is the defense, and they did nothing of any significance to address this. Cannot lose to Columbus and Buffalo and call yourself a contender. Vegas got crushed by Columbus right before the Oilers lost to them. But I don't disagree with that sentiment. YouTube Trev, where to next?
Let's, last but not least, let's hear from the Oilers head coach, Chris Noblock.
So how disappointing is it to not come out with 2 points?
Yeah, we're very disappointed. In the first period, I thought we played really well. We're up 2-0. Unfortunately, we gave up the penalty kill goal. And then I think we just had a lot of opportunities, maybe in the third, to add to our lead. And if we get up to a 2-goal lead, it's probably a little bit different game where we can sit back. I thought in the third period, up until they got the goal, I thought we defended really well. I didn't think they had very much shots or offensive zone time. I thought we played it really well, and unfortunately they get that opportunity and changes the game.
How do you assess a game like that? Because you talk about the discipline on the defensive side of the puck, but you guys don't necessarily come out with the result. As a coach, what's the messaging to the team?
There's a lot of things that we can take out of that as the positives. Offensively, yes, there was only 2 goals and one of them was shorthanded, but I thought we had a lot of good chances. I know there was a lot of goal posts. Our goalie came up with some big saves, just didn't capitalize, and we'll have to, there's chances when we score a lot more goals than we should have, just the way it goes, and tonight we just came up a little short.
What was the kind of chain of events to think you had lost in overtime, and then when were you informed, or who informed you that, hey, this is offside, you need to get back out there?
Glenn Belton, he came in the dressing room, told us. We were looking at it in the dressing room with the video coaches, and it looked like it was extremely close. It looked frame by frame, their quality that they get a look at is different than what we get to see. And obviously they saw that it was offside, and everyone was very disappointed and was getting their gear off, and that's what the delay was. But it gave us an opportunity to get that extra point, but unfortunately we didn't.
All right, there was Chris Noblock, short, sweet, to the point. Interesting at the end. I joked to YouTube Trev while we were watching the shootout that Paul Coffey didn't have his tie and an unbuttoned shirt because he was probably already getting ready to load up onto the bus to get on the plane. And just a weird sequence of events. Gave the Oilers another opportunity, and they didn't do anything with it. So, almost felt like they lost twice. Anyway, bad result. They do get a loser point, and the performance in general as a whole needs to be better tomorrow against another opponent that you look at and go, well, you need to win those. You need to win those games. So tomorrow in Pittsburgh, you need to win that one. They've blown 2 here, 1 point out of a possible 4 against Columbus and Buffalo. Not good enough. Can't happen again tomorrow. Simply put, Soupy Pigeon says 85 turnovers again. It's hyperbolizing. Officially, 4 turnovers for the Oilers. I don't know how. I think in Columbus, what did they have? They had Edmonton at like 6 or 7 turnovers.
It was right there.
They had like 6 or 7 in one shift.
They had way more in that game than they did this game.
Yeah, so it's just, and I said it after the game on Thursdays. The off-ice officials from arena to arena, it's subjective how they view takeaways, giveaways. They didn't have 85 tonight. But they had a lot more than 4. And Buffalo had more than 2 giveaways officially. So those stats are kind of skewed. It's just, again, it depends on who the off-ice officials are, what building you're in, and their perception of what is and isn't a giveaway and or takeaway. Spencer, do you agree with this? Spencer is mad, I feel. And Spencer says, these Oilers are worse than last year. They're in the same spot as last year. And last year was a roller coaster ride. Like, it's never, I said it earlier in the season, never just easy for Edmonton. They always have to make it difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's there's a few ways you can look at this. I know it was like a week ago I seen a stat and it compared the 2 seasons at the same point, like which we are right now, and this year's Oilers had like four more points, so 2 more wins than last year's Oilers at this point in time. But you wouldn't think that, obviously. The Oilers, they started just horrendously, but then they had the 16-game heater as well. So the Oilers power play last year, that was definitely better than it was this year. But in saying that, I think the Oilers are better 5-on-5 this year. I think they're this might be a hot take, but I do think they are better defensively. You look at the games that at times, at times for sure. But like last season, it was like the Oilers win 6-5, like 7-2. Like the Oilers, like they were better offensively for sure. But I think they were letting in a lot more goals.
They were.
They were right. Like they were always having to outscore their mistakes. Like we're looking at a game right now, it's 3-2. Like that's. Last year, I feel like at this point it would have been a higher scoring game. So, you get 1 more year of Bush. I think this year's Bush is better. Statistically, I think Hyman's better this season. You throw in Adam Henrique as well. 1 year more of experience of McDavid and Draisaitl. So personally, and I mean, they got Corey Perry as well, I think. And, we talked about Warren Fogle. He's having a career year. Ryan McLeod, he tied his career high in goals today. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot I don't agree with that personally. I think this year's team is better just with the additions they've had. It feels like it, though. It feels like because there wasn't the highs and lows like there was this year, in my opinion. So
this year it's just extremes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Edmonton, in its last 5 visits to Buffalo, I don't know what it is about Buffalo. They've all been 1-goal games in the last 5 visits. Edmonton's record 2-1-2 now after that one today.
Yeah, not good. You're not getting up for these lesser teams, Tommy. So definitely, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, the Pittsburgh Penguins are a little bit better. They played them way, way better. So
Pittsburgh's just been getting crushed.
They have. Their confidence is down. So maybe that's what it was. The Oilers played them at the right time. Who knows? But it all starts tomorrow.
All right, let's go to this text here. It says, well, there's a few things to dislike from this game. McDavid was a turnover machine, and the deadline acquisitions have not made an impact. Not looking good for Skinner on that slow backhand. Fair points there. Amos Moses says, well, that sucked. Twice. Good text, Amos. Amos Moses with a good text there. That's pretty funny. Appreciate the humor on a disappointing afternoon for the Oilers. All right, let's go to Brandon from Windsor. Pathetic efforts by Davo and Dry. Almost lost it with the lazy play by McDavid. 4 seconds left. Lazy effort by Nurse to clear the puck off a face-off. Win on the PK resulted in the goal. Dry, lazy plays all night. Davo didn't want to shoot the puck till he was almost at the goal line in the shootout. What is happening with the 62-goal scorer? He's not shooting. He's down a shot per game compared to last year. He was at about 4.4. I think this year he's down to 3.3. His career average, I think, is around 3.4. And he is passing up grade A looks. I threw it out there on the Oil stream the other day. Is he toying with everybody right now? Like, is he bored of scoring?
He could be.
He's that good.
Yeah, and one thing I had noticed early on in the season, when the whole team was struggling, but we all knew Connor was struggling. Like, it was his slowest. Yeah, he was hurt, but it was also his slowest offensive start to a season he's ever had, which was crazy. Like, he was in the first month or so, he was 90th in league scoring. It was something like that, and then he shot up to top 10 in a week. It was insane. It was 2 weeks or whatever. But earlier on in the season, I noticed pucks weren't getting through. I don't know if the team was, he just, whenever he would go to shoot, the defenders they'd just have sticks in lanes, and that was something he was struggling with a lot earlier on. I had noticed, and so I was always thinking, I'm like, maybe that just transitioned his way of thinking to start this season. He's like, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to be passing it. Maybe players are expecting me to shoot a lot more, and they're not collapsing as much in front of the net. So that's one thing I noticed. He wasn't getting the puck on net nearly as much. And, just you look at the goals that he was scoring last season, he'd come down, and a lot of them were top circle and he'd just be, burying them. I haven't seen that once. And so, but he's not shooting those anymore.
I know.
And he was at the beginning of the season. So that's one thing maybe worth being noted. I don't know.
No, I think that's a valid point. Good observation.
Thank you, Tommy.
Andy Pandy texted in, says, hey, Tommy, the Oilers are really struggling. Has to be one of 97's worst game as an Oiler. Draisaitl's line, excellent. The rest were invisible. The Oilers' top unit power play falling off a cliff. Too many passengers today. It's worrying. Carrick hasn't moved the needle in the fourth yet, and Henrique largely invisible. Bouchard cannot play at OT. He's an absolute turnover machine, refuses to shoot an OT when wide open. Nurse and Nuge were so poor in overtime. Buffalo's players were their best players. Oilers' best players didn't show up again. We looked loose and slow at times, Tommy. Let's be honest with ourselves. We won't win a cup with this back six. Andy Pandy. Ooh. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of good things to pull out of that one outside of the start. Draisaitl's line was good. I thought that Henrique, Kane, and Perry had a few good looks, considering this is the first time they've ever played together. Carrick, he's a fourth liner. Let's take a look at the stat sheet from tonight for Carrick. Yeah, there was no needle being moved there. I won't disagree with that. Donuts, one shot, one hit, 924 of work, won every faceoff he took.
Yeah.
I don't know how much is to be expected of him outside of being beefier and more rugged and not getting caved in your own zone.
Yeah.
Or a fourth line guy.
But
maybe some offense every now and then. He's got more goals than most of the fourth liners that have played on the team this year.
He does, for sure. And you look at it, I don't know if people are expecting crazy things from Carrick. He came in as a fourth line center. I don't know how many fourth line centers there are that are going to really move the needle. They do a ideal job, role. Just do everything. Obviously you're not going to be crazy chipping in and all that, but you do your job, and that's what kind of the role is for a fourth line center. You just do your job, and I don't know. I think he did that. He was invisible, but I mean, Derek Ryan is like, you know what I mean? It's just I don't know if you're expecting big things from Carrick. I think we've made it pretty clear you're not getting that. He's a fourth line guy, good role guy, mature guy. He's not going to lose you any games,
Works
but
hard.
Is he going to win you any either? Maybe, not really. I don't know. So
Yeah. Cal in the park texting in says maybe McDavid could have corralled the puck on Buffalo's second goal instead of blind backhand pass in his own zone. Not a good defensive game for 97 or any of the Stars, quote unquote. Fair point, Cal in the park. And yeah, I'll reiterate one more time. McDavid, I thought, was fighting the puck all night long. It just wasn't puck on a string at all for him like it usually is. Let's go, Randy. What has Randy got? I'm always kind of leery of Randy because it's always poking. Come on, Tommy. Were the Oilers the only ones playing on this bouncy ice? That excuse shouldn't have been voiced. You're better than that. Who are you, Stoff? Oh, come on. And are Oilers fans okay with offside reviews now since it went their way? Honest question, because there sure are a lot of bitching and complaining by fans and some media when offside review outcomes don't favor the Oilers. Randy, I was surprised that one got called back. Even when we were watching it, we were like, that was offside?
yeah, I don't know what Noblock kind of said. They probably have an angle that we don't. But man, it was frame for frame. There was literally one frame, and then the next frame,
I looked at you and I'm like, I don't know. I think that was okay.
Personally, I wouldn't have called it. I thought it was just barely on, but then it was close. I don't know.
Apparently not. I don't know. I didn't try to make an excuse about the ice, but it was a sloppy game, and there was a lot of bouncing pucks. I'm not saying that's the reason why the Oilers lost. They were bad in the second and third period. They let off the gas, like Trev said. So, Randy also says, on a less combative tone, man, can Tage Thompson shoot the puck? He is an excellent player. I had a chance to see him. He skates in Scottsdale in the summer. Him and Austin Matthews, Michael Kesselring, among others. And I was watching them skate when I was working at hockey school on the other sheet of ice. He is so good, so smooth, and he is a giant human. I think he's like 6'7". Just a monster, and he's just skill. And yeah, if he gets behind a shot, look out. Look out. Randy, that's a good point on Tage Thompson, and thank you for the text, Randy. This one says, blame the power play. It's absolutely not working. I'll switch up the lines if you have to. Last year, the Oilers would win this game because of a power play goal to put them up to. McDavid fighting it, body language. Bad right now. Mike from Calgary texts in and says, boys, the Oilers dominated on the dot, yet kept turning it over and over. Sloppy, lazy game. They're lucky they got a point. It was an exciting game for a moment with the offside, but they crushed our dreams again. Enjoy the day with the cheers with some beers. Mike from Calgary, thanks for the text. This one says, Tommy, the power play is supposed to be chaotic, not predictable. If coaches are willing to split Connor and Leon 5-on-5, why not try splitting them on the power play? I get it. It is predictable, and if you're doing your homework on the Oilers' power play, they try to force the seam pass through to Leon. It's not there. Hasn't been there all the time this season like it was in seasons past. But I said it earlier, going into today, third in the league, 26.7%, I think it was, on the power play.
Yeah.
Yes, 26.7, third in the NHL.
I mean, it's hard to mess with a power play that is labeled as the greatest of all time. Last season's was historic.
Yeah.
Are they playing like that right now? No,
Not
but
like last year. No.
You don't switch the players up. You switch up the plays that you're doing with those players, and it's just been stagnant. It's been super predictable. But for whatever reason, I don't know. Like, but it's clear as day. Like they're not just. I was watching the Avalanche Red Wings game. It was on Wednesday. And just looking at Colorado's power play, they were passing it. That's exactly it. And the Oilers are, they're being very patient with the puck, and there's no just
everyone dusts it off.
Yeah, you get the puck, you look for something, nothing there. Okay, pass it to the next guy. You look for something, nothing's there. It's like you got to be way more creative with the passes and just have that. That's where you got to ramp up that intensity, especially on the power play. And when you've got the likes of Connor McDavid, which the power play really gets going when he starts skating, and he hasn't been skating. He hasn't, the second he starts, doing circles around, everyone gets mismatched. And that's a lot of the time, that's when you can go to, bringing it back to Leon with that signature
speed, odd
shot.
man rushes or odd man situations.
Yeah.
In tight. Yeah, that's what you want to create. I am not going to tell the Oilers how to change their power play. I'm just saying, as you suggested, other teams do it a certain way, and it seems to work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to this one. The club should supply blood pressure pills. If you're a fan of the Oilers, can be so frustrating, always doing things the hard way. That's from Tim. Tim, I said it. Why can't they just do it where it's steady and consistent the whole way through? Always drama. Always drama. All right, a few more texts. See what's going on in the nasty chat, though. We'll get to the player of the game and wind things down. This one from Garrett in Victoria says, I'm worried about how often this team gets hemmed in their own zone when they aren't playing their best. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground in that aspect. Does Stetcher slot in next game to give the back end a different look? Garrett from Victoria. Maybe. Especially with the back-to-back. You want to get fresh legs in there. Do they go 11-7? Do you need to take someone to, I thought CC was all right. I thought Desharnais was fine.
My memory, if I'm not mistaken, I do remember in Noblock's first week, they had mentioned the whole 11-7.
Doesn't like it, right?
What's that?
He doesn't like it, right?
Yeah, and that's what he said, right? It was Paul Coffey and Stewart and Noblock. Obviously, they had talked about it, but yeah, they said no, it really messes with the chemistry. That's something I'm pretty sure he addressed, saying he didn't really like that at all. So I'd be very surprised to see if they do 11-7. I wouldn't. I'd take Vinny out easily. Throw in Stetcher, and I think a lot of Oilers. Vinny out. Vinny, you're out this one. And then I think a lot of Oilers fans will be pretty surprised. And I've been saying it. I really like Stetcher. I think it's a massive improvement. I really do.
All right. Well, I'm sure he's going to get in. I think tomorrow would be a great opportunity for him to do it. Are you challenging the camera?
Yes.
The Wolf, says, I am so going home, loading up Chell, putting it on Rookie, and the Sabres are going to have a beatdown of a lifetime from the Wolf. All right, the Wolf, have fun. Trev's been working on his game. Did you play ranked games?
Yeah, I was playing yesterday.
Are you back up to the top 100 in the world?
I played the top 60 in the world yesterday.
And?
I won 3-0.
Boom.
And then I played the top 63rd player in the world.
Yeah.
And I lost 2-0.
No. Yeah. So did you move up at all?
Yeah, I moved up quite a bit.
Okay. So you're back in the top 100?
It's I only played 3 games, so no. It's I'm just outside.
Okay. All right. We got to get you back up there. All right. Let's go to Maple Jed. A couple more texts. Maple Jed wondering who Hairball is. I mentioned it. Brad Harrison. He does not have a lot of hair. Hersey says, afternoon, fellas. What concerns me a bit with this team is how they flick the switch way too much, aside from that winning streak. This team is really good, but it's got to be on more than off, and I never know what we'll get. That's a fair point, Hersey. Hello, Tube Socks. What's up, Steven? Steven is all over it. The Tube Socks takeaways didn't win. Oilers get a point, and I was entertained. How are people angry with the Oilers getting a point on a Saturday matinee? And read some positive text, you cowards. And Steven has put on some tunes because he cannot take this negativity. Steve, all good. Eden says, hey, boys, does it seem like they've had a complete game all season? In any win or loss, it seems like they're still backing their way into games. Eden, they did dominate Pittsburgh on Sunday. So, yes, they have put together a couple of 60-minute games. Less than people would like, but there have been a few. All right, last text here from West End Rob says, guys, Carrick won 2 key faceoffs on the penalty kill, which allowed Nurse to get a quick out. He didn't on the second one. Give both new guys a chance to get comfortable. Fan expectations are unrealistically high to be game changers. Game 1. Good role players. West End Rob. All right, thanks for that text, West End Rob. We need to get to some business before we wind things down. It is the Damon Bunting, RE/MAX Elite Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. And, of course, Damon is a community-driven guy, understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or his Insta at Damon Bunting Real Estate. YouTube Trev, take it away.
Okay, like last game, there wasn't really any crazy players that stood out to me, I guess. So this might be a hot take. I don't know. I'd like to hear what the Nasties have to say. But in my personal opinion, I think he had a little bit of a bounce back effort, and it started on the first shift. I'm giving it to Leon Draisaitl. Was it a complete 60 from Leon? No, but I will say he did look a lot better than last game. This is a line that I think they will start next game against the Penguins. I'd like to see it personally. They have showed chemistry, and we talked about it. Like Fogle and McLeod, they play with pace, they play with speed, and that kind of gets Leon engaged in the game. So I did like what I saw, and I do think this line does have chemistry. I'd like to see them continue that chemistry, hopefully tomorrow. So he only got one apple tonight. He was a +1, one shot on goal. But he did have a few nice plays. He did look good in the O-zone, not so much in the defensive end of things, but offensively, I thought he looked good, and he was quite noticeable, one of the more noticeable Oilers out there. So for that reason, I'm giving it to Leon. Good job, Leon.
Okay. I would have voted for Warren Fogle, or maybe even...
And seeing that's fair. It was either one of those, that line was their best. It was one of the players on that line. It could have gone to, you know what? No, I'm not changing it. But I agree.
Todd Gack in the nasty chat says, same lines tomorrow, run them. All right. Joel says, there's passing, then there's continuous passing.
That's fair.
James Brells gets the last word here. Just pass it in. Just pass it in. Give it a little passaroo. Passy. The Oilers lose 3-2 in the shootout after allowing a goal in overtime, which was reviewed and ultimately disallowed on an offside. Disappointing afternoon, and too similar in the second and third period to what we saw in Columbus on Thursday night. Not good enough. They're going to look to bounce back tomorrow afternoon. Puck drop, 11 o'clock our time. We get going at 9:30 for the Oil Stream pregame show. Cass will be back in tow. Always fun times. Big thank you to Belsey for coming in for the pregame show. Thank you to everyone who listened and everyone who watched. You know we love ya. Let's do it all over again tomorrow. And if you didn't catch it, Hello Hockey, great episode. You can catch it on the YouTube channel and wherever you take in your podcasts. Myself and Sean Bell had Bill Scott from the Oilers, assistant general manager, as well as Dave Pagnotta breaking down deadline day. Bill was great, giving us a sneak peek behind the curtain of the Oilers at the deadline. All right, they lose it 3-2 in the shootout. They'll look to bounce back tomorrow. We appreciate you as always. Till then, see ya. Be safe.